What's up, y'all? CHGO Bulls Podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you for the second time? We back for the first. That makes sense. Trust me. I am Big Dave. Follow me at Bow Sports. This young man over here, always perfectly coiffed and perfectly grown, is Will the GOAT Gottlieb. Will _ Gottlieb is where you follow him at. On the ones and twos, as usual, DJ Joey Spathis. Follow him at Joey Spathis, a.k.a. Joey1K. Are you at 1,100? Or are you still dealing with the 1,000?
No, still in the thousands. You know,
Okay.
took the summer off Twitter, so.
Okay, true. You had the 10-week off.
Me too,
Right,
honestly.
right. You too?
I'm taking the summer off Twitter.
Taking the summer off?
The tweets will
You
be
got much
flying
time?
come October 2nd.
Oh, he's going to be on fire. Can't wait for that, ladies and gentlemen.
Tweets will be tweeting. X's will be Xing.
X's will be Xing. Well, reposting will be reposted. Is that what it is now, reposting?
It's still tweets.
All right, well,
it's still tweets.
It's Twitter to me. All right. As long as I can put this out and have fun with y'all, it's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
like, what would you say? Yeah, oh my God. Did you see how many likes my ex got last night?
I would be confused. I'd be like, why are you talking about your ex, dog?
How many X's my ex got?
Yeah, I'd be like, why your ex got?
Everything is X.
Everything is X. It's all X.
Everything is everything.
X
Oh my
everywhere.
God. Will Gottlieb re-exed my ex?
Oof. You re-X'd his ex, go?
I'm your ex?
I got 3 X's. Because I'm big. Y'all ain't catch that? Okay. All right.
They
It's
live
cool.
in
It's over
Texas?
head. Over the head right there.
They
A
live
little
in
over the head.
Texas?
Some bars right there for you, man. But coming up, guys, we got a lot to get into about these Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about which starter and which bench player have the most to prove this upcoming season for the Chicago Bulls. One answer might be typical, one answer may not be, but I would love to hear from y'all in the comments as well who you feel it should be also. But before we get into all of that, we've got some news, Will the GOAT Gottlieb. We got some news.
We sure do. And as I hinted at just before, the Bulls have announced that Media Day, the official start of the NBA season for the Bulls, is going to be held on October 2nd. Very
Hooray!
exciting. It's happening.
Huzzah!
A little bit later than usual. Typically, the last week of September, they're pushing it to the first week of October, but that will be held at 11 a.m. at the Advocate Center. We'll hear from EVP of Basketball Operations, Arturas Karnisovas,
Flex.
Billy Donovan, and some players will be made available to the media. Following that, on October 3rd, the Bulls will head to Nashville, Tennessee to have training camp for 5 days at Belmont University through October 7th. That's a Saturday. And then on Sunday, October 8th at noon Central Time, the Bulls head to Milwaukee to face the Milwaukee Bucks for the first preseason game. We are just about a month away from the Bulls playing a basketball game.
Very excited
That's
about
crazy.
this. First of all,
This summer has felt so long.
I like your arena voice, first of all. You like, we're going in to Milwaukee to play the Milwaukee Bucks. I like
now.
Right. I'm digging that. That's pretty good. But that is exciting, though, man. I'm ready for basketball, but
Talking to Chuck yesterday actually made me really excited for this
glad.
season. It really
I'm
did.
glad.
He was hyping me up.
I'm glad. Chuck put a smile on anybody's
He
face,
really
man.
can. Chuck
That
is-
man knows the
If you
game.
didn't listen to our show yesterday, go back, watch it. Chuck
Yes.
Shorsky came to studio.
Yes.
Stories for days. Nicest guy in the world.
Really is, man.
Really, really great show.
No, the first time we had him on, it was just me. Last year when I had him on the show, it was just me and Joey, and that was it. And it was remote, and I had to do a remote. But I think you were still out of town.
Yeah.
I think Matt wasn't in, so yeah, it was just me and the Chuckster talking
And
for like an hour and a half. It
Chris,
was
who I
awesome.
was just talking to before we came on, said that was one of the first shows that he watched after joining CHGO and still one of his favorite. He said you guys did a great job. So
Yeah,
go back
man.
and watch that one too.
Yeah,
after
go
you're done
back.
watching yesterday's.
Yeah, Chuck told me I was
Shout out
amazing.
Chris. Love Chris.
Yeah,
out to Chris.
shout out to Chris, man. Shout out to Chris. But yeah, man, like this is it beginning on October 2nd, you mentioned isn't the norm usually for the Chicago
It's not
Bulls.
like super atypical, but usually, like last year, I believe it was September 25th. It's typically that last week of September. And so it does feel a little bit late.
Okay. Is it they just want to get to it? You feel like it's more of that? Like you said, like October 8th is when everything is kind of kicking off. So it seems like pretty close
Yeah, only
together.
1 week of training camp. Maybe, they feel with all this continuity that they've built up over the last couple of years, they don't need as much training camp as before.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll have to see what some of the other teams are doing in terms of when they start media day and training camp.
Yeah.
But, I think it's interesting. The real interesting part to me is that they're going to Nashville.
Correct.
This is the first time that the Bulls have ever gone,
Yes.
not abroad, but somewhere else
Yes.
for their training camp. We see other teams like the Lakers go to Hawaii. a handful of other teams every year go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But for the Bulls, they've always done it at the Advocate Center, at the Berto Center.
Right.
And they've kind of, KC was saying that they have had thoughts about doing it elsewhere, but they're actually doing it. And it'll be interesting to see what the effects of that are. There's not going to be as much media. It's just going to be them. They're going to be kind of hanging out together, doing everything together. And hopefully it will result in some good bonding, some good team chemistry and team building that you get probably more than when you go to practice and then you come home to your family after, and then go back the next day. So they're going to be together this whole time. I think that can only lead to good things.
Yeah, building that continuity is what
Continuity
that is.
for the win.
I'm curious as to why Nashville. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, it just feels like a random city to throw out, like, where you're going to train at. Like, even when you say Hawaii for the Lakers, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I understand that. So I'm curious as to why Nashville and why, at Belmont University. Like, I'm just curious as to why.
Maybe it's like just because it's a big city, relatively close, that doesn't have an NBA team.
Okay. So nothing going on too much where people be at you like
some
that?
Good food, good barbecue, some stuff
that.
to do. They can go out without it being like a big NBA town. I don't know. That's just a guess.
Dollywood, they're going to go over there, hang out.
Could be.
Where's Elvis? What's the place Elvis? What is Elvis's place, man?
Graceland.
Whoa. No. Yes, Graceland is what it's called. Honky Tonk? Is that what you just said? Wow, dog. Shout out to the Honky Tonk man who was a wrestler who dressed up like Elvis and he was a wrestler. No, you weren't close at all, sir. You weren't close at all. I'm just saying shout out to the Honky Tonk man. So.
I think Graceland is in Memphis, actually. I'm just looking that up.
Completely. Well, Nashville, gone. That's where all the record labels are, though. Nashville. That's where they all are at. Like a lot of country music record labels and
so you should
like
be going.
That. It's a lot of that. A lot of that out there, man. Nashville is awesome. Thank you, Drewish, for the Graceland. Appreciate that. But yeah, I'm just mad curious with that. Also, Julian Phillips, also going to University of Tennessee, kind of going back around his old stomping grounds. You know what I mean? So maybe that has something to do with it too. I don't know. I don't think you would uproot and move your team.
Probably not.
Just for a second round pick. I don't think you would do that. But I don't think it hurts him. You know what I mean? Going back to where you were just in college, just to hang out and get that work in. But I'm curious. I'm a person who doesn't mind change at all. I just like to see what it does for them. Because I think you're right, Will. Like, it just feels like a bonding experience kind of thing for the team, and especially a team that puts that kind of thing kind of high, on their list. Is like team, unity and continuity and those. And
they're gonna have to just like spend some time in a conference room, lock the doors, and try to figure this thing out because they made some changes, they got some good additions, but like they still have a lot to work through, and hopefully this is a good opportunity to do that. Downside for us is that we don't get to be going to practice every day.
This is true.
And checking in on injuries, checking in on players, what lineups are people using. So I imagine there will be some media there. I will make a push to get down there, but no promises. So hopefully we'll see that. But yeah, I mean, basically media day, week off, and then straight to Milwaukee.
We got to get the goat down there for once or something like that, man. Jacob said, wonder who the country music fans are on the team. Dang, that's a really good question, actually. I would like to know that. Who listens to country music on the Chicago Bulls?
Jimmy Butler.
That's right. That's the only one I knew. That's the only one I knew was Jimmy Butler. Was wondering the same, Jacob, especially since Jimmy's gone. Yes, there you go. Yeah. I don't know.
I could read that small of print.
I got you back, sir. I got you back. Roy Honky Tonk, man, Ferris was a great heel. Yes, the hell he was, sir. Awesome heel. Yes, he was. He was awesome and amazing. Great wrestler, dog. I loved it. All right, let's get on to more business, but having more to do, not with the Bulls, but had a lot of Bulls fans just a tad upset.
Up in arms.
I can't believe it.
Up in arms.
Seems like anytime they don't get any free agent, Bulls fans are going to be upset about it. But this is one that was talked about a lot coming and playing for the Chicago Bulls. But, of course, like many other things, he ends up playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. Joey, if you got that, could you put that up
Lakers.
For me? The one tweet there from the man that they call a Woj tweeted out and said free agent center /center Christian Wood has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. The deal includes a player option, and we come to find out the deal was for 2 years, $5.7 million, with the player option being in that second year. Well, for a guy that's averaging 16 and 7, and the skill that he has offensively, and still a young guy, it feels like a really, really excellent deal for a team like the Lakers, who is just stockpiling guys.
First of all, awesome graphic, Joey. I like that. It was very
That's
clean.
what he do.
I like the way that you incorporated the tweet. It looked very clean. Yeah, I mean, this is basically the contract that Torrey Craig got. It's a 2-year minimum with a player option. And the first thing I want to emphasize is that it's a minimum, okay? A lot of people were yelling and screaming, the Bulls got this $10 million disabled player exception for Lonzo Ball. Let's throw it all at Christian Wood. Didn't need to do that. He signed for the minimum. I was also listening to the Hoop Collective with Brian Windhorst.
Shout out.
And he mentioned that it was basically the Lakers or the Heat for Christian Wood, and that he was kind of waiting on the Dame thing. Could they potentially get more for him after they kind of gut their trove of young players to send to Portland, so that he can come in and have like a bigger, backup power forward center role with Dame and Bam and Jimmy. But seems like he just didn't want to wait any longer, and so he went to the Lakers. He's going to be backing up AD and LeBron at the 4. Lakers have had a great offseason.
They really have.
Adding guys like Taurean Prince, bringing back Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. They also got Jackson Hayes. So they've really added to their front line, and I think Christian Wood comes in as potentially the starting center if you want to move AD to the 4, which is something that he has historically wanted to do. But I think at the Lakers' best, AD is the 5, LeBron is the 4, and Christian Wood is coming off the bench to give you that really high level per minute box score production, which is what he's kind of known for. So yes, younger side, just about to turn 28 years old. Minimum contract. Like there's been questions about him and his, like the areas and the teams that he's been on. Like there's a reason why he's not getting huge bags thrown at him because of the production. So we'll see how it goes. But I think this is a good landing spot. And I just don't see the Bulls as ever having been a real threat. Am I upset that the Bulls didn't get him, or do I think that the Bulls would have benefited from getting him at the minimum? Absolutely. I think it would have been a great addition to where he could possibly outplay Drummond for the backup 5. You could put him in some bigger lineups if you wanted to because of his shooting ability. But at the end of the day, the Bulls are already above the tax line. They're not going to make it even harder on themselves to get back below it. And he seemed like he had kind of made up his mind between Lakers and the Heat and ended up going to the Lakers.
Yeah, I never thought he was going to be with the Bulls at all. Even when we have these discussions about him, I was on the fence about him. I really was. I know the skill that this young man has. We understand.
Absolutely.
We understand the skill. Defensively, oh man, not good. But still a guy that can give you 6-7 rebounds a game while giving you 15, 16 points is valuable in the NBA, especially coming off the bench. I could see where that happens. But it's that issue that the Bulls' biggest issue defensively is rim protection. And then you get a guy who doesn't possess that is going to be battling Andre Drummond to take those minutes. And that takes away some rim protection right there. Not saying Drummond is a rim protector, but getting a rebound is a stop.
Yeah.
And that's what he kind of does. So I thought I didn't really see the fit, how it would work for the Bulls, because I was just looking at it defensively. Offensively, absolutely it works, and who knows? Like, he could figure it out while he's here. Like, it's easier to teach somebody some defense than it is some offense, but you can just sit there and teach it to him and he'll figure it out. And Billy Donovan, you're bringing him into a team with the top 5 defense. Like, he can't do nothing but learn and get better being around that. I don't see how that would hurt.
And you may say, well, Vooch isn't a good rim protector and the Bulls had a good defense with him, so why not try to incorporate another guy who's not necessarily a great rim protector, but could be a great scheme defender, could be a good team defender. And I think the thing with him is that he's just not a good positional defender either. Yeah. There are guys like Patrick Williams who, aren't going to be like playing drop coverage 5 and like blocking 2.5 shots a game at the rim, but he's really good at sliding over as the low man and protecting the rim.
Yes.
Christian Wood is not that guy. He cannot switch on the perimeter, but he's also not going to be in the right positions at the level of the screen in these defensive schemes that Billy Donovan runs that have had the Bulls playing defense at such a high level. So I think that he would have set them back in that regard. Obviously, the Bulls need an offensive scoring boost, and he could have given that to you, but I don't know if it was I'm not like up in arms about it. Would it have been great for the minimum?
He is an abysmal defender. Like he
Terrible.
couldn't get on the
trash.
he couldn't get on the floor for the Mavericks at the end of the season, and they were trying to like
They
were throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks, and he still is not. Like it just goes back to when Mike Malone said like specialists don't play in the playoffs. Like I don't see him as a guy that's contributing consistently in like a winning 8-man rotation.
And that's why I think he's in the right position now.
Yeah,
though, with
agreed.
the Lakers. Like it's not on him to do anything. Like anything he gives you is a plus out there in LA.
Yeah, we've seen how much the Lakers, especially with those two, can benefit just from having a couple capable scorers, guys that could play without the ball. Like, you know, even the lift they got from Rui last year and when Malik Beasley was hitting shots. And so it's another guy that could sort of come in, score, play off other guys, you know, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And like you said, a lot of teams were passing on him. Like I see Throne had saying the Pistons passed on him. Enough said.
And like, bad teams who needed talent.
Yeah.
Pistons, Rockets.
Yeah.
Like the Mavericks just absolutely stunk last year.
They need
and
size.
they needed size. They needed shooting. Like their whole ethos was forget defense. We're going in on Kyrie.
Yep.
We're getting Christian Wood, and we're just going to outscore teams.
Yep.
And like Joey said, wasn't on the floor.
Couldn't see the floor. Jason Kidd was just like, I'm through with this guy. We're done. So, yeah, but we know what he can provide offensively. And, I think he's in the perfect situation, man. Like, and even if he has moderate success, you're in the right area for that because you do anything right on a LeBron team, let alone a Lakers team that's a LeBron team, that's going to help your profile, period. Like, that would be awesome for him to have happen. I did see one stat that was interesting to me. Shout out to StatMuse. They had a list of players who, when they started, averaged 20 points and 2 blocks a game. It was Christian Wood and Anthony Davis. That's it. And now both of them are on the same team.
And that's exactly what I think people get really excited about is those box score numbers that he is really good at producing. But we also know that the game is beyond the box score.
Correct.
That things have to happen from a team perspective, offensively and defensively, for a guy like this to warrant minutes.
Yeah.
And I think he is a good player. If the Bulls could like throw him in off the bench and say like, you know, when Vooch is out or injured or just sitting, like give him the ball and try to get a little burst of offense, that would have been fine. But like, is he comfortable in that role?
Yeah.
Does he view himself as a starter?
Yes, he does.
Who knows? Who knows what the situation is? But I think the Bulls have really prioritized in their locker room guys that are professional, that play to a role, that know what sacrifices they need to make in order to find a level of success. And we know that they haven't really hit that level as a group, but like, I don't think you can really argue, you know, that like guys aren't willing to play to a role. Yeah. Caruso, DeMar, like turning into more of a veteran leader while still being like the, you know, ISO guy when they need it. Zach has kind of oscillated between roles and sort of found a groove as both a primary and secondary scorer. Vooch has really had to take, you know, we talk about like big threes building all the time. Sure. The third guy has to take a back seat, right? Yeah. It's the same with LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. Bosh was the one that got the short end of the stick. I think Vooch is in that role too, but he has, in this interview that he did recently with Jake Fisher, he talked about that and he basically said like, it's made me a better player and I know this is what I need to do. So I think it's just tough to insert those kind of guys into, and I don't even want to say those kind of guys because I don't know what kind of guy Christian Wood is.
A guy who wants to be a starter who can't play defense.
Yeah. But I think the Bulls just need to be careful about not dropping any potential grenades into the locker room.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing I thought about a lot was, can you imagine another dude here who can't play defense coming out at the United Center and those fans seeing that? They were losing their minds, you know, on Christian Wood and going crazy on him. So I don't think they wanted to subject him to that either.
If Vooch gets injured this year,
yeah,
you're maybe looking back at this moment and thinking, man, probably should have gotten Christian Wood, because then you're splitting time between Drummond and Wood and maybe something works out there. But
I think I would only look back at it if, depending on what Drummond does. That's the only thing that'll make me look back at it. If Drummond comes out and he's just consistently below average, then I would be like, damn. But if he's just Drummond, the Drummond I know, like good and bad, I'm saying, like, because you're gonna get the bad with the good with Drummond. But if he's just who he was, or even if he was early on, remember Drummond early on to start the season was awesome.
With Dragic.
He was awesome, all right, until he went down with that shoulder injury, and then that kind of changed everything about him, including his free throw shot. Like, that kind of changed it all for him. If I get that Drummond, and that's who I got to get if Vooch, God forbid, has an injury, and that's the guy I get out there, I'm going to be okay with any decision that has been made as far as the center position with the Bulls. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. Who has the most to prove in that starting lineup for the Chicago Bulls? We'd love to hear what you all have to say on it as well. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up. Thank you about that compliment, sir. My brother said the same thing before I walked out the door. Nice kicks. That's exactly what he said to me. So appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Those are nice.
Thank you. GOAT makes 3.
Go to Proved.
Make sure you get that thumbs up, y'all. Give us the thumbs. All the thumbs that you got, hand them to us because we love them. Brought to you by Splash Sports. CHGO has a weekly Pick X and NFL Survivor contest for everyone to participate. This is true. For real money. You heard what I said. Real dinero, real cash, real cheddar. All of that. You can participate in that. How do I do that, Big Dave? Well, let me tell you. Head to splashsports.com/CHGO and sign up. Deposit cash to get started, and it's just $10 to enter, y'all. 10 of them things to get up in all of this awesomeness. The CHGO Weekly NFL Pick X contest and the CHGO's Survivor contest. The more who enter, the larger the prize, y'all. We'll be running weekly contests all year, so be sure to keep that link handy. Now, if you want to run your own contest, tired of being the commissioner on leagues, chasing people down with none of the reward, which is why I was never the commissioner of my league, then you can sign up as a commissioner through this link, through our link, and earn money for the contest you already running with your friends and your family and people you don't like, but you just like playing fantasy football with them. Head to splashsports.com/CHGO to join. We all have different contests coming out, so we are stoked to compete with and against all of y'all, man. Just saying, we're just going to be happy playing with y'all and whooping y'all is what we basically saying. You know, but if you can compete, come on and step up. Let's see what you got. Be sure to click the link in the description below. And of course, I must talk about the grand reopening of my main man, Ray Chevy, out in Fox Lake. Grand reopening, man. He said the grand opening wasn't good enough. He got to do it again. Run it back. So get your ducks in a row, because it's the grand reopening of Ray, Chevy, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake. Flock in September 9th and celebrate our Get Ducked event. That is an awesome, awesome name. With free prizes. It really is. With free prizes and your chance to win $1,000. Plus, during Jeep Adventure Days, get employee pricing on all new 2023 Jeep Gladiator models. When I was getting gas today, I saw a Jeep Gladiator in red right next to me. That's a damn good looking car, bro. Like, damn. Really, really nice. Really nice. The grand reopening of Ray, Chevy, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake is only on September 9th, but the savings are all month long. All month. Find new roads and let those roads lead you to Ray, Chevy, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
Hey, you. Get ducked.
He was ready. Look how proud he is. I just like Joey when he does this, because the pride on his face when he does these things, like, nailed it.
I love when you, in the Splash Sports read, when you were like, we're stoked to play you. You got hit him with the little surfer voice. I love that.
That's the only
one. I didn't catch that, but I did.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That's the only way I hear stoked. He's stoked, man.
To play against you.
Stoked, bro. Are you in any fantasy leagues? Football?
No football leagues.
No football. Yeah, I know basketball.
Basketball,
sure,
yes. Football, no.
Football, no. Okay, I'm in one.
Unless anybody wants to invite me tonight, because there's games tomorrow.
Yes, it games tomorrow. The CHGO League.
Wait, you're not in one fantasy football league?
No, I don't know.
You're not in one fantasy football league.
But you are the brain for anything outside of basketball.
You are the Adam Silver of fantasy basketball commissioners, but you don't play one fantasy football league.
Does Adam Silver commission NFL?
Ooh.
No, but I'm just saying you're such a natural fantasy commissioner.
I am a great
basketball.
commissioner, if I do say so myself.
That's the first time I've heard him give himself a compliment since I've known him. That's what it was. It's the basketball commissioner. All right.
That's my calling in life.
That's your
to be a fantasy basketball commissioner.
And he does a damn good
I'm
job.
shooting for the stars, ladies and gentlemen.
He is good.
right.
He's respectful, but he's on top of everyone. He's like, Joey, I know you've been busy, but I need you to pay your dues. It's not a problem, but you need to do it today. Stern, respectful, to the point.
Do you call him Mr. Gottlieb then?
Commissioner Gottlieb.
I apologized.
Commissioner Gottlieb.
And I paid my dues immediately.
He doesn't want to get that stern warning again from the Commissioner Gottlieb, ladies and gentlemen. Respect him. I'm going to get him a shirt that says that, by the way. Respect him.
Also, I was literally going to bed last night. I was like laying in my bed, and I was like shot awake because there was a bright light, and it was my phone lighting up at 11:45 p.m. Will texting me about potential fantasy basketball trades.
First of all, why are
coming.
you sleeping at 11:45?
I was tired.
Come on, man.
I'm
You a
constantly
young fella.
thinking about trades.
Yeah,
I
always.
love trades.
I was
and I love
tired last
improving my
night.
team.
Okay, all right. It happens. It happens. I'm
Usually I am a little bit of a nocturnal
Yeah.
owl. You know, when the season's going on, we're getting back late. We'd still be in studio.
One
at
more
that
month
point.
of early night sleeps, and then we're here. Late night, baby, watching the Bulls.
Oh, he can't wait. the joy on his face, man. Well, let's get into talking about these Chicago Bulls a little bit, man. I was having this debate yesterday, which is kind of where this topic kind of came up from, was
Organic.
who has to prove something? Who has the most to prove on this team for the Chicago Bulls? So I kind of broke it down into starters and bench player. What starter and what bench player has the most to prove on the Chicago Bulls? So again, this is assuming any starting lineup of who you feel is going to be starting, because people have different ones. Some people have Torrey Craig. Some people have Kobe White, or Javon Carter, whoever you have in your starting lineup. This is just assuming whatever one that you feel is going to be the starting lineup for the Bulls. So based on that, who do you feel has the most to prove in that starting lineup for the Chicago Bulls? I got a feeling you and I agree.
I think so. I think we agree, and I think we agree on Zach LaVine.
We agree? We agree on young Zachary, sir.
And I hate to be a person who even brings this up because it annoys me to no end when people are like, he's got to prove he can be a winner.
Okay.
And it's like, there's 5 guys on the court. There's a team of 15 guys. Like, one dude.
That was a great Peck impression, by the way.
A Peck impression of a dumb
He's
fan
got to prove
impression.
he's got to be a winner.
Whoa.
Thank you. That was exactly what I was going for.
Joey letting them ride.
Zach is not a losing player. Zach has been in bad situations.
Yeah.
And so that is not what I'm talking about here. But what I am talking about is, can he do what is necessary as an on-ball player, as an off-ball player on the offensive end to elevate this team? Mm-hmm. I think he is clearly the most talented scorer on this team. Obviously, what we see from DeMar, and when I say talented, what I really mean is like versatile.
Yeah.
He can score in a variety of different ways. And I think he has proven that he can be a number one option. Mm-hmm. I think he has proven that he can be an absolutely elite off-ball option, whether it's coming off of pin downs for catch and shoot opportunities, attacking closeouts as a secondary pick and roll guy, or back cutting if there's willing passers at the top of the key. I think he can do all those things, but I think he needs to find the right balance, and I think the Bulls need to find the right balance for him to where he can really maximize there. Because I think DeMar, you're only going to be so bad with DeMar in your roster, right? Like, you're never going to be a tanking team. You're always going to be like in that mix, whether it's like, the play-in or low-end play-in, high-end play-in. That's going to be your range if DeMar's your best player. Zach is the ceiling raiser on this group. Sure. And so I think what he needs to do in order to be the best ceiling raiser that he can be is really operate within both of those. And I think at times last year during the second half, he was like, I'm taking over. DeMar's not fully healthy. Yeah, this is my time. I'm going to be the on-ball guy. Mm-hmm. And I think there have been times where he's been really successful as an off-ball guy, coming off screens, like I mentioned, playing secondary offensive initiator to DeMar. And I think he needs to be able to flip between those a little bit more seamlessly. And I think that's really going to elevate the Bulls, where they're not doing your turn, my turn. It's like, they're running an offensive play for Zach or between Zach and DeMar, and like because Zach can play off ball or play on ball here, you're causing way more confusion and chaos for the defense. And I think that's really where Zach is going to be at his best. And I think him being fully healthy, hopefully DeMar being fully healthy, and being in a third year together, those two guys especially can really learn to play off of one another really well. And I think, unfortunately for Zach, it has to be him that is the more malleable one because he has that versatile skill set that DeMar doesn't have, right? Like DeMar's not going to be spotting up in the corner. Zach needs to be the one that utilizes more of his versatile skill set to be able to complement DeMar, but also allow DeMar to complement him.
Those are bars right there. And you're absolutely right because
I did not think I had that much to say about that.
Hey, bro, that's how it happens, man. But I really can't think of anything he can't do on the offensive end.
Yeah, he does everything.
He does every single thing, and he either does it above average or just really awesome.
Elite.
Yes. My thing, and just to go back, he's not a winner. It's not. I don't have no concern about him in the regular season. Zero. He's proven that, like time and time again. Like every year, he's like almost a 50, 40, 90 guy. Every year. Like my friend said, it's to the point where it's boring now. It's all the time. It's the playoffs. And of course, a lot of that isn't him. Like you said, the teams that he's been on, he doesn't not win 4 games in a row his whole NBA career because of him. He's been on a bunch of trash teams. Like he's been in bad situations. The first time he was in a good one, they actually went to a playoffs, for his very first time. Those are literally the only playoff stats you would have on Zach LaVine. It was his first time there. Now, granted, he wasn't even fully healthy when he was there.
Absolutely not.
Definitely had that knee injury going on.
And thumb and COVID.
Correct. Again, that dude had COVID like 3 times. It was wild. But I believe he averaged, 19, 6, and 5.
He did not have a good playoff series.
He didn't.
Statistically speaking,
no, 19, 6, and 5, shooting 37% from 3.
That's
was like a minus 41. Not good enough. And again, I'm taking into account the injuries and everything that was going on with him. But still, I think Zach LaVine, just knowing him, and you obviously know him a little better, you're around him much more. But just from knowing him and the kind of person he is, he holds himself to a really higher standard. So he won't accept that I was injured kind of thing. He wants to be great.
Just let me go prove
myself. Want to be right. Exactly. I want to be the man. I want to show everybody I am that dude. It feels like every year he's been trying to prove that ever since he came back from that knee injury. I have to prove to you I'm healthy enough. I have to prove to you I'm worth this contract that people thought was crazy, but we kept telling you wasn't. I have to prove to you I can be an all-star. I have to prove to you that I can be a leader of this team. It feels like he keeps doing that. This year, I want him to just be like, dude, I'm better than everybody. We know I am. Let me go out here and show it to you.
And I think what I'm trying to say is that I know because we've seen that Zach can be that guy. Mm-hmm. Like the Bulls weren't good enough last year to make the playoffs, but like Zach proved that he could be the number 1 guy on a team. Mm-hmm. He's proven that before DeMar, and I think now he's proven it with DeMar. He's also proven that he can be an incredibly lethal secondary guy. Yeah. Not even secondary, but 1B.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that in order for the Bulls to make the next jump as a team, Zach has to be able to do both of those things seamlessly. Mm. And he needs to be able to play off of DeMar, and DeMar needs to be able to play off of him, because I think that's where like this winning thing comes from, is like Zach's not willing to do what it takes for the Bulls to win. And I think whether or not that's true, like those to me are the things that will elevate the Bulls. And I think that's what I want to see Zach really succeed at. I think he's willing to do it, but can he do it at a high enough level?
Exactly.
Can he take a step forward in that area? Because we know he can do both. We've seen it.
And that's what I want to see. And it's all about that postseason to me.
I think that will lead to postseason success more than anything else.
But even going back to the play-in, that first game against Toronto, it's funny how nobody speaks about that game. Then when I talk to people about it, everybody goes to Miami immediately.
Recency bias.
Everybody's like, dude, he sucked in that Miami game. I was like, nobody talks to me.
See him put up 30 against Toronto?
You know what I'm saying? Like, did you see how he did it? You know what I mean? Just coming down the court, pulling up threes on you.
It was
inside,
literally
outside.
A masterclass from DeAr DeRozan and Zach LaVine.
Yes, it was. That's who got us the victory out there. Zach, and especially in the second half, Zach was unstoppable. And I mean, when they had to have it, when they needed those shots and they needed those buckets, Zach LaVine was like, give me the ball. It wasn't DeMar. It was Zach LaVine, like telling you, in DeMar's old place, Give me the damn ball. I got this, man. And he went out there and he proved that, which I thought it would be a back and forth kind of thing because I'm like, okay, he did it this night. It would be DeMar the next night kind of thing. And that's kind of how I looked at it.
The Toronto thing is a great example of what I'm talking about. DeMar was getting double teamed as he typically does.
Yeah.
So what does that do? That leaves Zach in a one-on-one scenario where he can really take advantage of anybody who's guarding him.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing where if they trap Zach, then DeMar's going to have a one-on-one situation. And I think like the continuity thing is what it is, but like those two guys at this point need to know how to take advantage of those situations. They need to know how to read it, and they know way more than I ever will. But I think that's the key to unlocking the Bulls offense, which has struggled over the past 2 years.
Yeah. See, Eco Bean saying Zach is what he is after 10 years. I don't know, man. There's still something there. I mean, if I felt that, then I don't think he would be an all-star. You know what I'm saying? Or what he is, that kind of guy right now. I still think there's something else left that he needs to unlock that we haven't seen yet. And that's kind of what I'm talking to. And for me, it's the postseason. That's the only thing I've yet to see it unlock. Zach is great. Like, I don't even understand that point. I'm like, if that's who he is, a dude who's almost a 50, 40, 90 guy after 10 years, give me that dude every single damn day. I'm talking about postseason. That's all I need to see it in. And that a team has to get you there, of course. The team has to get you there. But once that team gets you there, then I want to see Zach be like, okay, I got this now. Let me run it like he did in Toronto.
And I think being able to take on both of those roles will help him get there to the playoffs. And I think if he's able to buy into that, that will take the Bulls to new heights.
True. Joey, if you could scroll back, a couple of people had some other answers about who it is that started. I saw a lot of Pat Williams and saying Pat Williams. Joel Hernandez saying most approved starter is the Paul. Most approved player, most bench player to prove the Paul. It is a weird one. Throne Hat agreeing with Will the Goat Gottlieb saying agreed. Zach has the most to prove as far as leading the offense, taking over games. I think DeMar has to take the biggest step back to Zach and Vucevic and use DeMar situationally. And I guess that situationally means fourth quarter. Like, that's when he balls out. But you let Zach do what Zach does. Do you want to see Zach will like kind of stake the claim? Like, I'm that dude? Because I kind of feel like I saw it more in that second half. If I'm just speaking from like a fan meathead perspective right now.
I don't. That's kind of what I'm saying. I don't want to have him just go out there and say, like, F it, I'm the guy, everybody else be damned. Like, he needs to be able to be that guy when he needs to be, but also be the 1B option when he needs to be. I think learning how to operate and understand when to be each of those things is going to help him be a lot better. For me, I've seen what he can do as a 1A, but that can only take you so far if you're not willing to do what else is necessary. So for me, it's about doing both of those things.
Eco Bean saying who has the most to prove as a Bulls starter. He feels it's Kobe White. On the bench, he has Dalen Terry and Ayo Dosunmu. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the starting lineups can differentiate because nothing's been set in stone right now. So he feels it's going to be on Kobe. So yeah, a lot of different answers right here. A lot of Pat, a lot of Zach, a lot of Kobe, man. I like this, man. Thanks for getting in tune with us on that. When we return, we will deal with the bench. Who has the most to prove coming up off of that bench, ladies and gentlemen? We shall find out. But first, it's beer time. It's the Goose Island Beer Company. CHGO is supported by the Goose Island Beer Company since 1988. That is Jordan year leaping from the free throw. And, of course, that roster that they got is ridiculous. The 312 Wheat Ale, the Full Pocket Pilsner, which is the favorite of myself and young Matt Peck. Of course, that Beer Hug family led by the Herb Lawrence, that 9.9% one that they got, which is ridiculous. But now, since my favorite season is on the way, which is fall, it is time for Oktoberfest. Oh, nothing wrong with a seasonal beer of Oktoberfest, y'all. And you can get one of those from Goose Island, and it is delicious. So grab that ultra fresh beer at the Goose Island Original Brew House on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in West Town. It's the Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer, the true taste of Chicago. I got an email from Baby Joey about you, Will.
Does Uncle Joey know how much we've been talking about Baby Joey?
I hope he does. Do you understand that? We talk about him all the time.
Some never understood.
It's the one thing I do understand.
It's one thing he gets. It's one thing he feels he gets. He wants to know if you're going to need a ride to Nashville. He got you covered.
I would love a ride to Nashville. Better yet, a plane ticket, because that's an 8.5-hour drive.
Oh, Baby Joey got that pull, man.
Yes, he does.
He could get that private jet for you. I'm just saying. He could got that kind of pull, man. That's how he rolls.
News to me.
Of course it is, because it's Baby Joey. What do you mean? It's always news to all of us. He's on an email. You didn't even know that. Send the emails. This is all news to you, man. Joey didn't understand. He never understood. Neither did Baby Joey. He ain't get it either. Will don't get it. I don't get it. And Shady Rays don't get it either. They don't understand. So they set out to do something about it. Shady Rays, y'all, is that independent sunglasses company, offers that world-class product. It's just as good as any expensive pair you've ever put on your sexy face. The durable frames, the extreme clear optics for your outdoor and your indoor adventiones. To go tell me that's a word. That's not all. Matt Peck lost in Broken Replacements playing, y'all. Say you toss that hat, it goes splat. Oh, dang, drat. I broke my glasses in half. But then you can remember, you take them, put them back in an envelope, send them back to Shady Rays. They will send you a brand new pair for free, no questions asked. Or if you saw the GOAT in Nashville walking around with them shades on, and you like, God dang, look at the coiffness in the sun. And look at how the Shady Rays look so cool off him. You know what? I'm going to buy a cowboy hat, and I'm going to go get some of these Shady Rays just like he has. And then you get back and you realize you made 2 bad decisions because you tried to look like the GOAT, and you cannot do that. But since Shady Rays has an awesome line of glasses, you can go on their website, find the ones that fit you better, send the ones that you bought trying to look like the GOAT, send them on back. They'll send you that pair that fits you better. And as long as you do it within 30 days, you get it for free. Their team always has your back, y'all. So exclusively for the listeners out there, Shady Rays is giving away their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use the promo code CHGO for 50% off the 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades.
Try it for yourself.
He wasn't ready, but he
Usually
was.
you throw it to me.
Go ahead, him on there. I didn't throw it to you yesterday either. You just knew.
Try for yourself.
Shades that are rated 5 stars. Over 250,000 people because of Shady Rays, y'all. With the Rays are just so damn shady. All right, let's talk about who has to prove it off of the bench. The bench players for the Chicago Bulls. And again, just like the starters, nothing set in stone as far as the bench players are concerned. We'll find out, obviously, when the season gets here. We'll find out exactly who will be coming off the bench. But I think we have different answers on this one, Will. Who do you feel has the most to prove for the Chicago Bulls coming off of that bench?
This is kind of a cheeky one, but for me, it's Patrick Williams. Because
that is cheeky.
Not because I think that there's no way he's going to be the starter, but I think he needs to prove that he should be the starter.
Okay, go on.
Because when you look at what the Bulls did last season to end the year when they were as successful as they were all season,
yes,
when they went 14-9 down the stretch, as everybody likes to know, who was starting at power forward? That's right, it was Alex Caruso.
It was.
The first team all defensive guard, Alex Caruso. And I think that the Bulls found something that they know really works. When you have 2 elite defensive players,
yes,
around Zach, DeMar, and Vooch, you can make crazy things happen. They were first in defensive rating after the All-Star break. So I think they understand that recipe. They bring in Javon Carter, presumably to be the starter in place of Patrick Beverly. That did rhyme. Thank you very much. And I think that either Torrey Craig or Alex Caruso have just as good, if not a better shot at being the starting 4 than Patrick. Maybe Caruso isn't to start the year because they're trying to monitor his minutes and manage injuries. But to have Torrey Craig, I think any 3 of those guys could be the starter. And I think that gives Patrick a 33 or 66% chance to not be. And to me, that's where he has to prove it. He has to be so good. We said this with Chuck yesterday, and I 100% agree. He has to be so good that Billy cannot afford to have him on the bench.
Yeah.
And that's a big prove it to me.
Yeah.
What does he need to do in order to be that? He needs to be an aggressive 3-point shooter. He needs to continue to develop as an on and off ball defender. And he needs to be more aggressive driving the ball, getting to the rim, drawing fouls, taking advantage of opportunities when guys are loading up on Zach, DeMar, and Vooch. He has to prove he can do that. We know guys like Caruso and Torrey Craig can do that in their own way, whether it's shooting, whether it's cutting, whether it's just being an elite on-ball defender. We know those guys can do it. What can Pat do to prove that Billy Donovan cannot afford to have him on the bench?
All right. Those are bars right there, sir. Personally,
I'm in my bag today.
Yes, you are, sir. I like that. I think Pat has to start. But that kind of goes back to what you're saying.
And I'm hoping he does.
Yeah, but that goes back to what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I mean. Like, you got to prove it and take it. It's got to be yours. You're right. Yeah, you're not wrong, Goat. You're absolutely right on that. For me, it's Ayo Dosunmu. I got Ayo. And how can I explain this? I think
big bag for Ayo this summer, but he left his wallet in the car.
I think you know what you're getting out of a Kobe White, and I know what I'm getting out of Alex Caruso. I don't think we know completely yet what I'm getting out of Ayo Dosunmu. And what I mean is this: Kobe White, even though he got his money and he's all that, I know Kobe's going to score. I know what Kobe's going to do, and Kobe has the opportunity to start. All right, Alex Caruso, we know what he's getting out of Alex Caruso, that first team all defensive guy, who also might be in the running to start. You know what I mean? And even Javon Carter, I got an idea about what I'm getting out of him. He's going to play defense. He's going to be a bulldog there, and he's going to shoot the three consistently well, and he's going to be solid at running an offense, okay? And again, a guy who also might be starting. Ayo Dosunmu is the only one out of that I can't say any of those things about. Because Ayo, and that's not to say he doesn't have it and he's not skilled. We just honestly don't know because of the depth at that position right there. Anytime we talk about guards on this team, he's always the last name that I've heard mentioned when people are mentioning guards. I'll be like, well, what about Ayo? And people always say, oh yeah, Ayo. I forget about Ayo. He was the last one signed. You know what I'm saying? To sign that deal.
Kobe, Caruso.
Yeah.
Number 5, Ayo.
And that's it. He's always that guy. And again, the last one signed with the Bulls getting that contract and was the one that was most surprising. People were surprised. Like, oh, man, he signed back. And why were they surprised? Because of the depth on the team at that position. That's why everybody was a little shocked that he came back. I was happy he came back because I want, in my head, I want him to be that guy who is positionless like Alex Caruso. But again, you got a guy who does that better in Alex Caruso. You know what I'm saying? So I think Ayo has to prove the same thing you were talking about with Patrick Williams. You have to make it hard on the coach to be like, dude, you ain't forgetting me. I don't care what everybody else thinking about me. You're not forgetting me. You're going to have to play me. Same way he felt that way his rookie season. He was like, no, I got to play this dude. I don't care. And he didn't even have a great summer league or whatever, or preseason and all that stuff. But he was like, no, you've got to play. And I'm going to play you starting from game one. And it was nothing but success. To the point where when Lonzo went down, you know what? You're the starting guard. Period. It wasn't even a real competition. It was like, Ayo Dosunmu, you're the starting point guard for this team. It's yours. Now coming into this season, what is it? You know, what do you point to and say, this is what is yours? This is what you got to have. He's got to go out here and earn it now because of the competition at that position, that rhyme. He's got to go prove that now for the team, man. And I think he will. This isn't me saying that I think he won't, because I really do think he will, man. He kind of thrives on that kind of thing, man. He likes pressure and he likes being put in those positions just from talking to him, you know, and seeing how he's come up, you know, even from Morgan Park all the way to Illinois. It's always been something for him to prove. You know what I mean? When he got drafted, he talked about having a chip on his shoulder because he was drafted 38 in the second round. He didn't like that either. So he come in with that on his shoulder. So now you've got to prove that we can't not have you on the floor. That has to be proven. And I feel like it's also a shorter leash too because of the depth.
Yeah.
So it's
he
like,
won't have as much opportunity.
Correct. And so if you're making that mistake, I think Billy's going to yank you. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, man. Like, not today. We got to get this win. You got to come sit next to me for a little bit. I think he has a lot to prove in that sense. Now, when those small ball lineups come out there and those things like that, I think he'll have that opportunity to shine playing the 1, the 2, or the 3 because of the length of this dude. You know what I'm saying? And his height allows that to happen in all 3 of those positions. He can get away with that. But he has to find a way where Billy is like, I have to play this guy. I cannot leave him on the bench. That's what he has to prove.
And I think the other thing is, like, I know everybody says they don't like to make excuses, but like that's exactly what Billy and AK and Eversley have been saying about Ayo is he got off to a really hot start, but now he's on the scouting report. So like, of course he's going to not succeed as much. It's like, okay, well, you're an NBA player. If you want to play, you got to have counters. Yeah. That's the whole game. How can you beat the person in front of you? And I'm not saying Ayo can't do that, but like this is year 3. If you're saying that the first year was him catching everybody off guard and the second year was everybody catching back up to him, what's he going to do to now put himself in an advantage situation again?
Right. Correct.
And the answer is, I'm not sure yet.
You're right.
I think he's got skills. I think there are ways that he can do that, but he's got to prove what they are. And so I think that's a great answer. And I think, like I said, I was more than capable of being that guy. And like, I could see a world where he really develops and really improves his game. And now he is the starting guard again.
Yeah, exactly. I could definitely see a world when that happens.
He needs to prove that. And he needs to prove that he's capable of coming with that counter, of adding those elements to his game to where, like you're saying, he needs to be out there.
Yeah. And again, the consistency at the 3-point shot has to be there as well.
It's got to be
that's what really kept him on the floor his rookie
Zach,
year.
DeMar, and Vooch. It's got to be getting the ball ahead in transition. It's got to be getting all the way to the rim, drawing fouls, defending at a high level, being switchable. It's got to be all those things.
Yeah.
And I think he's got all those things in his game, but he needs to sharpen them, and then you start to add more tools and elements and scoring weapons.
Correct, because we've seen those flashes, man. Like, he has those flash plays, like dunking on Giannis, you know what I'm saying, that block on Kevin Durant. Like, he has those flash plays when he's out there. But, yeah, that depth is a thing at that position right now. So let's see if he can, play himself, where Billy has to play him. Like, no matter what, I'm playing you this game. I don't care how many minutes, but you have got to be in the game. Let's see what you guys are saying. Jacob agrees, saying Ayo. It's got to be Ayo. And saying Pat has to play with energy. He has to show he cares. I think he does, to be real with you. But I agree with the energy, but I think he actually cares. Andrew saying, please not Caruso at power forward. He'll guard threes, and DeMar will be hidden, trying to protect the paint and defensive rebound. We've seen that movie, and it's no bueno. I don't think you've seen that movie.
It's a top 5 defense.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you saw. I don't think you stayed for the whole movie, my guy. You know what I mean? You got to stay for the whole film, bro, because when it ended, that defense was pretty damn good, and Caruso is the reason why that defense was pretty damn good, man.
No bueno.
No bueno, man. Joe is saying Caruso at power forward is actually good, though. It is. Like, it's not a bad thought. So when he brings that up, it's
Positions
legitimate.
Aren't real, guys.
You saw it where?
Positions aren't real.
They're not. They're not real, man.
They're just not real.
They're just not a real thing. Is there anybody else you feel, Will, that has to prove, whether it's starter or bench? That is there another player that you just feel that has something that they have to prove this season for the Bulls?
I think, like, maybe not a player specifically, but like the big 3 has a lot to prove.
Ooh.
Whether it's playing off of each other or just like succeeding at a high enough level to justify re-signing Vooch, and like probably going to have to do the same thing again next summer with DeMar. Like, they are the Bulls front office has Zach under contract for 4 more years, Vooch under contract for 3 more years, and DeMar is a free agent after this season.
Right.
They need to prove that this is worth continuing around, because there's already a lot of questions, justifiably so. But if you're telling me in a year's time, we've just seen another, 500 give or take season with, a couple of play-in games or maybe a first round exit, gentleman's sweep type of situation. And now you're going to go and re-sign DeMar again. Like, I need to see some proof that this thing can actually work, because they like to say, and by that I mean the front office likes to say, that they believe in this group more than the negative people, the naysayers. What is it that they see that everybody else seems to be missing? Because from our perspective, it's a missed playoff run, it's getting gentlemen swept in the first round against the Bucks, and it's a negative net rating over 2 full seasons. So what did those 3 guys need to do to prove that it's worth continuing on this road? Because it does not seem like a teardown is coming anytime soon. And it does not seem like the Bulls are going to get what they want to get for Zach. And it does not seem like the Bulls are going to just let DeMar walk for nothing. So something's got to give. What is it?
Joey, anybody that you feel needs to prove it on this Bulls team, whether it's starter or coming off the bench?
Mine's Patrick Williams.
Okay.
Just for a lot of the reasons we named, but I'm sort of getting to that point. Like, I think Patrick is going to be in the league for a long time and can be a productive player. But like, I'm a believer that you got to show it in the first couple of years if you're going to be a real impact high level, highly paid player. And I think we're already on the latter end of him, getting to the end of that runway in terms of showing sort of who he is. And I think that this year is going to be sort of a make or break year. And, I just, if it's year 4 and it's another just really passive and 8.5, 9 points per game and just looks the same out there, I'm going to struggle holding out hope for next year that anything's going to change, because that's where it's starting to feel stagnant. So I want to see some real development and a big step forward for Patrick.
Yeah, I think people want, and that's a great point. I think people want the splash from Patrick, because honestly, I think he's a really good player. And the numbers kind of back that up. If you're going inside the numbers, it kind of backs that up.
If he doesn't get any better,
has to be there for him. He's got to make that splash, man. People have to point to something. It has to be simple. Everybody isn't in the metrics, you know what I mean, in the game. Some people just turn on their television and they're like, okay, I could point to that and say this guy's good and this guy's bad. And that's really what they want out of Patrick Williams. Allow to simplify it for me. 2 + 2 has to equal 4 for people. They don't want to do long division on Patrick Williams. They just want some simplicity.
This is the same exact conversation we had with Patrick last summer. This is going to be a big year. He's got a lot to prove. Yeah. Can he take a jump? I don't want to be sitting here next summer having the same conversation. Right. I think if Patrick does the exact same thing that he did last year, he's going to be a productive player that will have a 10-year career in the NBA. He's already a very good 3-and-D player at a premium position with premium size and athleticism. Teams are going to want that. Teams are going to pay up for that. But the Bulls didn't draft him number 4 to be a 3-and-D player.
Correct.
And not to say that 4th overall draft picks can't just be role players. Like DeAndre Hunter comes to mind as a 4th overall pick who is really just kind of a 3-and-D guy. Is that the worst outcome for him? That's kind of what you're expecting. So I'm not saying Patrick has to be better just because he was the 4th pick, but I do think he has some more creation upside. I do want to see it. But I'm also given the situation with this team of trying to win every game, of doing what they have to do in order to win, which is give the ball to Zach and DeMar and get out of their way. Yeah. I wonder how much opportunity Pat is going to have. And I think that's where this narrative that Mark and I have certainly been pushing is even if Patrick doesn't score 20 points a game next year, there are ways he can be really productive offensively. And I want to see those things because that is a building block. And I think offensively, that's where he needs to, that's the next step. And you got to take one step before you can take 3 or 4.
Correct. Absolutely true. All right, y'all. That's about our time. Thank y'all for hanging out with us, man. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed that. Tomorrow, we'll be back. We're going to have some fun tomorrow. We're going to have a great time. We'll be back here in this awesome Studio B, hanging out with the GOAT over here and with Joey back there, y'all. So y'all come on back and holler at us tomorrow. We will be here and maybe talk how excited I am because football is happening tomorrow. God dang it, this is awesome. Oh, this is my favorite time of year. You follow this man over here at Will_Gottlieb. Follow that guy back there at Joey Spathis. I am Big Dave. Follow me at Bow Sports. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central Time. We'll be here. Peace and love.